So I've been asked by a number of you what it's actually like to work within the film and television industry. So as an apprentice, I'd just like to go over a few pros and cons. So we'll start out with number one. The more productions you work on, the more contacts you'll make. So once you've completed your apprenticeship, you'll have a real portfolio of all sorts of different characters within the TV industry that is definitely worth having in your phone book. They can also get in touch in regards to any upcoming productions that may be working, so if you put the graft in, there is a real good chance to work on other productions in the future. One of the main pros is primarily experience. It's something that everyone needs to even consider working within this industry. It's a really competitive world. So having the experience firsthand and being able to say that you've worked on these productions is a real advantage to anyone who considers working in television and film. People can see that you've done this apprenticeship and really see that you've had a lot of experience under your belt, all in under a year as well. So it's a real good way to get a start in the industry. So another benefit is also the chance to earn while you learn. So essentially you're getting a basic salary to also accompany the experience that you'll be getting while out on set. So it really does help out with the travel costs and also some of the basic necessities in life, such as food and drink and rent. So having that as a backup, as well as the industry experience and knowledge that you're gaining, is a real advantage. So the qualification that you'll get at the end of the apprenticeship is a great way to bridge the gap between education and moving into a career. It's a real good way for future employers to get an idea of what you've been doing throughout that year, and it's also a good bookend to the apprenticeship, as you do gain a qualification out of the entire experience, as well as the knowledge that you gain from actually being on productions. So I've just given you a few pros there, so what I'm going to do now is just give you a few cons as well, just to give you a bit of an idea as well of what you can expect and what can pop up while you're working on productions as an apprentice. So let's get to it. So con number one. So one of the things you'll notice straight away when you start working on productions is the travel that's involved. As an apprentice, you'll be working on a number of different productions throughout the year. This will involve a large amount of travel, which does affect petrol costs. For example, you could end up travelling upwards of an hour and a half just to get to work. So you've really got to budget the money that you earn every month. Primarily on petrol costs. Keep that in mind when starting out, as it is a bit of a shock to the system when you start out. So another con that I've noticed is the lack of recognition at some production companies. For example, a lot of companies can be really busy working on a particular production, so they can't really give you the time of day to actually train you or show off any of the equipment and tell you how to use it. More often than not, you're actually thrown into productions head first. So if you're someone who is willing to take on that challenge, then that's absolutely fine. But if you're someone who struggles and wants to learn a bit more about the equipment that you're using, then it can be a bit difficult and a bit daunting. So this is something that's quite expected from an apprentice, but in a lot of cases you will be asked to do a lot of tasks that aren't particularly interesting. So for example, you'll be working in a lot of the production offices, and a lot of the time you'll be off making coffees for people, or cleaning out desks, or even clearing out kit cupboards. Just a lot of menial tasks that a lot of the higher-ups would rather not do themselves, so they'll just have the apprentice do it. So that's something you've got to keep in mind as well. It's very commonplace for most apprentices to do menial tasks like that, so whether or not you see that as a disadvantage is entirely up to you. So there you have it, just a few pros and cons, just to give you a broader idea of what to expect from an apprenticeship in the film and television industry. Obviously the apprenticeship is what you make out of it, so I hope this video has been informative and giving you a better grasp on what to expect if you do consider doing an apprenticeship. Thank you very much for watching, and all the best.